Hey, my name is Sarah Eastham, and I've spent this year interning with the student ministries at Bridgeway Community Church, as well as researching the trend of students leaving the church over the past few years and how I could help reverse that trend. One of the things I learned is that 90% of students who are connected to a church will remain connected to the church as an adult, while 80% of students who are not connected to a church will leave. So it's very important to help students get connected to a church in general. Also, there's a gap in churches today for students between the ages of 18 and 25 where there are no ministries geared towards them. And so it's very important that there are ministries that are specifically designed for college students. So I put together this video seminar to help teach students how to find a church in general and also how to get connected to the Christian ministries on their college campus. So the first part of this video seminar is Minister Joseph Choi teaching how you go about finding a church in general, and the second part of the video seminar is Lana Matthews talking about the importance of getting involved with Christian ministries on a college campus. So I hope you enjoy.
Hello, my name is Joseph Choi, and I'm one of the ministers here at Bridgeway Community Church. Today, I'm going to help you have a basic understanding to look for a particular church or finding a right church. So one of the things that I always encourage people to do is, number one, have the right perspective. For example, if you are coming from a certain home church that you so dearly love, and you're so passionate about that church, and then you go off to college and you're starting to look around at different churches, well, one of the things that a lot of people tend to make a mistake on is they're looking for that same identical church. Well, God created every single church to be different. So when you're trying to find your home church, let's say in Ohio, it might be a little difficult. So what I would encourage is to do what is called a right perspective look, or adopting a church. So think about, for example, what you would like to see, not in comparison to your original home church, but something that just really hits you, maybe about some of the things from the home church, you know, the atmosphere, the environment, just some of the basic essentials. So when you go to the other place, make sure you're not comparing, oh, this church is not like my home church, or that church is not like this. Because when you start comparing, you probably have a good chance of finding zero church that's going to fit you. So having the right perspective as you go around looking at the different churches, think about adopting a church. So what are some things you should be looking for? Number one, before you go searching into the churches, you have to know your essential doctrines. So for example, if you are a Christian, what are the basic fundamentals that a believer must have in order to have a basic understanding? So when you go to a church, so for example, you go to church A, and you're not really quite sure of your basic doctrines that you're supposed to know, and they're talking about things of Jesus, and something in your spirit that sort of triggers something not right. Well, because maybe that church is not believing that Jesus is actually one of the deity of the Godhead. So learning things like you know, the atonement, the Trinity, you know, some other basic fundamentals of the essential doctrines of those nature, like the resurrection, Jesus as a birth from Mary. So those things are your fundamental beliefs that a Christian should know, because think of that as a marker in which you take that to a church. So you have that, you understand it, and you believe in the essential doctrines of the Christian faith. And let's say, for example, you go to church B, and because you have that as a marker, when you go to church B, you understand if the preacher or pastor or someone in the leadership team is talking about certain things of the scripture or with the Bible. You have an idea in the areas of you know, basic fundamental beliefs, if they're right on target, or wow, they're really off target. They don't even believe that Jesus is, you know, born from, you know, Virgin Mary. So if they don't believe in those kind of stuff, no matter how good the music is, the surround, the environment, just everything, but if they don't have that basic essentials of that, the doctrine of the Christian faith, it most likely is not right for you.
My name is Lana Matthews, and I used to go to the University of Maryland, College Park. And when I was there, I was asked to take over a campus ministry and kind of was there to help start the foundations of it. It was called the Impact Movement, and it was pretty much like just a Christian organization that was there for students, by students, and we kind of just encouraged each other to grow in our relationship with God, because what happens is if you are a Christian, most likely as a teenager, you know, you kind of went with your parents and they kind of dragged you to church when you were younger. But once you get to college and you have your own freedom and your parents aren't there to kind of reinforce, you know, going to church and worship every Sunday, then most people fall off. So it was really encouraging to have a group of students who met on their own, just for their own desire to get closer to God. In that ministry, we did a lot of different things. Community service projects, like we went out on campus and just the community in the College Park area and did a lot of service, and also just had a lot of fun. We had events that we would do like every other week where we'd get together and pretty much have a full service, where there'd be music and food and drama, just all the arts kind of combined in one night, which was really fun. And then we had smaller groups that met on a weekly basis, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. We just try to put things in place for students to always have something to come to. So, you know, for some students struggling with alcohol, instead of going to the bar on whatever night, you know, we try to have something that they could come to instead of that. Because if you want to go out as a student, you're going to go out. But where do you go out is the question. And it was always really important for us to have something established that was a safe place for students to come, a safe environment where, you know, they could have fun and be themselves. And I actually got to see that happen, and we did get to that point, which was really big. Research pretty much shows that most people who do latch on to any particular faith, that happens in college. So I feel like it's a crucial time for self-discovery and the discovery of what you choose to believe in. And so having that campus ministry there, for those who had found their faith and were Christians, you know, it was a great support system, and it was something great that helped them sustain that faith and grow in that faith. But even, you know, there are a lot of people who came to our ministry and didn't have any type of relationship with God and didn't have any faith, and were able to find their faith and discover more about God through what we did. And, you know, it made a big difference. Just some practical things that I saw happen was, you know, people that kind of were failing in college and skipping classes and not showing up in the morning to classes because they had a hangover and weren't doing well because they were kind of living this heavy party lifestyle would come to the ministry. And it just kind of, I guess, you know, helped center them and focus them. And I saw people, you know, actually literally stay in college because they had a network of people who were trying to push them to do better. And again, no judgment on like the party lifestyle, or not saying that we saved them, but it was definitely something that was in place that benefited a lot of people in a lot of different ways. Making that transition from high school to college is huge. I mean, it's exciting, but at the same time, it's really scary because you're totally leaving your comfort zone and you're leaving, you know, everything you know. And especially if you go away to college, you know, you're leaving your family and your security blanket basically, and you know, you're out there on your own. And not only that, you're actually paying to learn things. And if you come from public school, that's not something you're used to. So I would say it's really important to get involved in a campus ministry, just because it's something that keeps you grounded. I would say overall, it keeps you grounded, and it allows you not to get so caught up in the academic world, because in that place, there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure, you know, to do well and to be excellent, which is great and which is important. But in college, it's not just about getting grades and getting a degree. It's also about growing as an adult, discovering yourself, and I feel most importantly, discovering and solidifying your faith, because your faith and what you believe in is a big part of who you are, and it will affect every aspect of your life. So coming into that is extremely necessary, and without the campus ministry that I was in, I can't really say, as a person where I would be if it weren't for that. I'd probably still have a degree, but I wouldn't be who I am today, and I still have a long way to go, but I'd like to say I'm proud of who I've become this far. So campus ministry, mandatory.